opportunity here to really witness something that's special. I've played this game for a long time, and I've been involved in this organization for a number of years, 8 to be exact. We were talking about it earlier, and I think it's important to kind of touch on right now is, in the 8 years that I've been at this group, I have yet to see an NHL player come and spend any time with us. I've yet to see it. Things like that just, they don't really happen. And I think it's important to make sure that we as a group have them explain that to them. You know, like I think it's important that we as a group get an understanding of how important that is. This gentleman is driven down from Vancouver. He's had 16 weekends off. Probably would have liked to have 12, maybe 10, but you know what? That I would have liked to have had a couple extra too. So I know how he feels. But it's important for us to acknowledge his presence first of all, and him coming down to spend some time with us and give us a weekend away that, quite frankly, he could have shared with his family. And if we could all just let him talk for a bit. He's also picked off, he said to me that, you know, we had 67 kids out there today, and he was like, Vaughn, I needed some more things to give away because there's a lot of guys that worked hard. We have 4 giveaways from individuals that not only worked hard, but listened well as well. Not only were great students of the game on the ice, but were great students of the game, period. We're going to let him talk a little bit more on that. But any questions? We're going to open it up to Manny right now. You have a couple of things to say to start off.
Well, thanks for having me out here. I played on the ice. I can remember being this age and going to hockey schools or being at practices and always thinking to myself what it would take to get to the next level or how could I make myself better, and always trying to compare myself and seeing guys who are really good skaters and wanting to be like them, or they're really good at something and I wanted to be like them. And I can remember at a young age I made a decision that I always wanted to make myself a better player. I always wanted to make myself a better person. And I was always kind of thinking of ways and plotting ways to get myself to my eventual goal of being in the National Hockey League. But I think first and foremost, I was fortunate enough to grow up in a good household where I was the youngest of 4, so I don't know how many people are the youngest of their siblings, but but I think that was a large part of who I am today, just the fact that those of you who are the youngest know what it's like to be picked on and told you're not allowed to play or told you can't do that. And I think as a youngster that really set me off. It kind of set me up for life. Now when I hear somebody say you can't do that or you shouldn't do that or you can't play, then it's kind of a switch goes off in my head and it's more of a dare to me. Like I dare you to try to play. I bet you can't play. You know, I use that more as motivation, and I've used a lot of things throughout my career as motivations. Times where perhaps I wasn't playing as much as I wanted to, perhaps I wasn't scoring as much as I wanted to, or perhaps guys were saying certain things to me. I can remember one time, I grew up just outside Toronto, and during a game, we were playing the Toronto Red Wings, and I played for the Saga Reps. It was a huge rivalry, and they usually had our number. And they had the majority of the better players in Toronto, and I remember one of the kids saying to me, "You should stick to soccer, Manny." And I can remember how that made me feel. And from that day forward, it was kind of used as motivation to get me to my eventual goal of being here. But back to being the youngest of 4, I think I was very fortunate that my brothers and sisters constantly pushed me to want to do more, to want to be better, to want to be like them. And my parents played a large part in that. The fact that you know, we were a sporting household, but my first love was always soccer. My whole family played soccer. We all branched off into our own sports. I was the only hockey player in the family. And I think from that standpoint, I was very fortunate just for the fact that my father's from India, my mother's French-Canadian, and so my father never knew a thing about ice hockey. My mother wasn't all that into it, but they wanted me to have the opportunity to do something. So I remember going in one day and saying, I'd like to try ice hockey. So they contemplated for a little while, and I figured, you know, we'll give them a chance to try. They'll probably get tired of the 6 a.m. practices and the 5 a.m. practices, but the more I went out there, the more I fell in love with the game. It just kind of grew and grew and grew. And number one, with them not knowing that much about the game, there was never any X's and O talks. There was never any disciplining about why I did that or why did I do that out there. But they allowed me to fall in love with the game. And that's exactly what I did. You know, after games, I can remember friends of mine getting into the car or riding home with friends of mine, and their father saying, "Oh, why didn't you do this? Or why did you make that pass? Or why didn't you skate harder?" And, you know, the whole way home seemed like a quiz session or a little bit of a scolding, the way I took it, because I was used to getting in the car and having my dad ask, "Did you have fun and where do you want to eat?" Those were my major questions. Those were my major concerns after the game. And, as a youngster, it was great that I was able to separate the two. I could go to the rink, have fun, be with my buddies, enjoy myself, the social aspect of it, the competition, the physical activity. As soon as I left the rink, I was just another kid. You know, I had to go get my schoolwork done. I had to do my chores around the house, and I think my family played a large part in getting me to where I was today. So I was very fortunate. So as Vaughn was saying, I started in '98 with the New York Rangers. Again, faced a lot of adversity early, coming from junior where I played a whole bunch and was one of the assistant captains on the team, to going to New York, being the new kid on the block and getting no ice, fighting and battling for everything I could possibly get, and just not playing the minutes I wanted to. And again, motivation, wanting to be out on the ice as much as possible, wanting to be out there more, just pushed me every day in practice. And I mentioned to you guys out on the ice, that's a time where I became selfish, was practicing. How am I going to make myself better? How am I going to make myself a faster skater? How am I going to get a better shot? How am I going to be more competitive? How am I going to be smarter out on the ice? And all those things pushed me to be a better player, to be a better hockey player, to be a better teammate. And from being selfish out on the ice and making myself a better player, I felt that it made me a better teammate, that I pushed my fellow teammates, made ourselves a better team. And I've carried that kind of mantra throughout my career. Is, you know, I may not be the most talented player, I may not get you 100 points a year, but you know, I'm going to pride myself on work and be one of the hardest working guys out there and try to be one of the fittest guys out there, and it's kept me going this long. So I'm very fortunate. I'm very happy to be here today, try to help you guys out to get to where you want to be. And maybe it may not be the NHL, but maybe just wanting to be a better hockey player and enjoy yourself out here. So if there's any questions you guys like to ask me that I didn't cover maybe, or that you've just been hoping to ask, fire away. Right here. What's a good skating tip?
Listen to Coach Vaughn.
No, really, the thing with skating is you can pick up so many tips along the way, and there's so many technical aspects to it, but ultimately what it comes down to is you have to be comfortable in your stride. I skate a different way from him, he skates a different way from him, you skate a different way. You know, everybody has their own particular skating stride. So within your own comfort level, you're going to use these techniques to make yourself better and stronger. So, you know, you're not going to be a robot out there. We're not going to produce 60 or 72 skaters that skate the exact same way. But the tips that you're getting out on the ice are really the fundamentals and the basics of what you should keep in the back of your mind all the time. Yes?
When you played for the Sharks, was Joe Thornton on your team?
Jumbo Joe Thornton was on our team, yeah. Incredible player he was. Yeah.
Great question, by the way.
What do I focus on? I make sure I get in good with the linesmen so they help me out as much. Yeah, just went up a few points.
10% average just increases.
But the thing is, with face-offs, it's repetition. So there's certain nights where I get into a game and I'm taking, there's some nights I take 8 draws a night and I'm just not in a good rhythm. And there's some nights I've taken 25, 30 draws. And I feel like I just can't lose just because it's bam, bam, bam. I get into a rhythm and I feel good with it. But we drop a lot of pucks after practice with all the centermen. We're always battling. Morning skates after the skate's done. We drop a lot of pucks then. And again, it's repetition, it's practicing. But the biggest thing is hand-eye coordination. So you're not waiting for that puck to hit the ice and then try to win it. You're seeing that puck come out onto the ice, and you're kind of in motion as the puck, as soon as you see that the linesman hand open up, that's when your initial move takes place. So again, that's the way I do it. There's little tips you can pick up along the way, but again, you're gonna have to feel comfortable in what makes you successful in the circle.
Do you study linesmen?
I do. On a certain night, every night you have a different linesman, and they're not robots. They don't drop all the same. They have different techniques. Some drop from the hip, some from the knee, some pause a really long time. Some just want to get it out and get out of the way. So depending on the night, I'm watching. I know who's dropping the puck that night, and on every dot, I'm seeing what their timing is on that particular night.
Oh, wait, I'm going to add to that. When we do a game, we've done a couple together this year. I mean, maybe 20 in our whole career together. But this year we had 4 or 5 games together, and it really struck me as very few guys, just about 4 guys in the league, that take as much pride into taking a draw as this guy does. He comes out to the face-off circle. He wants it. He wants everything in perspective. He wants to focus on what he needs to do right. He is just, it is such a profession for him to do. I mean, he takes it so serious, and it probably has been a real instrumental part of your career, has it not?
A big part,
yeah. A big part of his career.
I always tell people, like I was saying before, I'm not going to get you 100 points a year, and you have to find something to make yourself relevant on a team. And my particular job, my craft is being strong defensively and winning defensive zone faceoffs. So I pride myself in that. I know that's my job, just like Malongo's job is to stop the puck, just like Hank and Danny are there to score for us. I know what my job is, and I take a lot of pride in making sure I get it done on a nightly basis. Okay.
What did you learn from skating with Wayne Gretzky?
What did I learn from skating with Wayne Gretzky? My first year in the league was Wayne's last, and initially, I'll start all the way back. So when I was drafted by the New York Rangers in June, you go up to the podium, you receive your jersey, you take pictures, and then you go back and do a whole press junket, and all the media's waiting there for you. And on the way back to our press junket, the PR guy was walking back with me, handed me a cell phone. He said, "Here, someone wants to talk to you." So I got on the phone, said, "Hello, hi Manny, it's Wayne Gretzky. I just want to welcome you to the team." And I was just in shock. I couldn't say anything, I couldn't speak. I said, thank you very much. And I was just shocked that he would take the time out of his day to call me in the middle of summer just to welcome me aboard. I handed the phone back to the PR guy, and he was laughing at me because you could see it on my face. I was just in awe. I was just awestruck that he did that. But the one thing about Wayne that I really took away is that arguably the greatest hockey player to ever play the game. No one will ever touch his records. He will forever be the great one. But anytime you wanted to talk about him and how great he was and his records, he was the first guy in the room to change the subject. Never wanted to talk about himself. Never wanted to say, "Hey, look at me. Hey, remember when I scored 90 goals? Remember that year I had 150 points?" He never talked about that kind of stuff. He was so humble. And that's the thing I loved about him, was that growing up, a Canadian boy, he was always an idol to everybody. But you see him firsthand, you see what a gentleman he is, how humble he is. That was the biggest thing I took away, that the greatest player ever was one of the most humble ever. Yes?
What's it like playing in the NHL? Do you have
What's it like playing in the NHL? Well, I have to do it every day, so I just go. No, it really is a dream come true. Like I said, when I was young, I never really said to anybody that I wanted to be in the NHL, but it was always in the back of my mind. That was my goal. I wanted to get there. Never knowing how to, never knowing what the proper steps were, but I wanted to play in the National Hockey League. So when I got there, number one, I realized the difference between making it to the NHL and making it in the NHL. Every year 700 guys, or 9 times 3, 270 guys are drafted. 300 guys are drafted every year, but the majority of those guys will never play an NHL game. So when I was drafted, I realized, okay, I made it to the NHL. I'm knocking on the door right now. But I realized it would take a lot of work to make a career of it, to play games, to establish myself as an NHL player. So number one, when I played my first game, I was just over the moon, just so excited. But then it dawned on me, you know, one and done doesn't sound all that fun. You know, playing 1 year doesn't sound all that fun. And then I thought, you know, okay, one more year and another year and another year. And every year you play, you have to kind of redefine yourself or make yourself better, because people know who you are, they understand what you're able to do. And if you just want to kind of toe the rope and stay at even keel, you know, your time is going to be numbered really quick. So I found out that I have to keep pushing myself every summer. I have to keep working out. I have to make myself a better player if I want to continue living in this fantasy league that I am right now. Dad in the back.
How much time do you spend practicing skills and conditioning off the ice?
In the off season, well, that's all we really do. So depending, like right now, my day usually starts at 10 to 6. I'll get up. I'll drive to Grouse Mountain, which is just north of Vancouver, and do the grouse grind. I'll come back to the rink, do a 40-minute workout, go home, relax, play with the kids for a while, then go back in the evening, do another 30-40-minute workout. Do that 3 times a week. Tuesday, Thursday, just an hour workout, plus whatever I want to do, and then Saturday's a fun workout. Sunday's a day off. And then now starting to get back into the ice. It's all of that, plus ice sessions. So I've never really done the hours, but you know, and then in season, you know, I guess it would work out to 3-4 hours a day just working on off ice stuff. Yes.
Good question.
It's tough, you know, like
Listen to Bob.
We can record that actually.
you're gonna get a lot of opinions. You're gonna get a lot of opinions on how you should do things, and you got to keep in mind that they're always tips. You know, it's not always the one way to do it. It's a possible way to do it. So, like I was saying before, if one coach says to do this and one coach says to do this, you know, they may be two. I can't imagine they're completely opposite ways of thinking. You can take the positives out of both styles, but you have to do what's comfortable for you. You know, you have to make sure that you're confident in your own stride and confident in your own ability, but definitely take those tips that you're getting from your coach and try to apply them. Yes? How long have I been playing? I started in the NHL when I was 1998. But I started playing hockey when I was 7 years old. So I've been playing roughly for 25 years now. Woo! Either or, you guys choose.
Alright, do you have any pre-game rituals?
Pre-game rituals. Yes, not to the sense that they're superstition, but you know, on game day, we're really creatures of habit. Do everything the same kind of every day. So you have your morning skate, you go home, your pre-game meal, you rest, pre-game nap, you wake up, you go to the rink at the same time usually every time, and then you kind of go through your whole routine. And some guys like to get there 4 hours before a game, some guys like to get there 2 hours 15 minutes before a game. It all depends on what you like to do. I like to get there around just under 3 hours before the game, and I just kind of go through my routine of getting my sticks ready, checking my gear, changing my laces, then start warming up and doing all things. And then we have team meetings where things are there. So it's just kind of a process you go through every day that, you know, just kind of makes you feel the best you can.
Guys, sorry guys, we're going to do 5 more questions, and then we're going to sign some stuff. He's got lots of stuff for him to sign, and then we're going to let him get on his way with his family, because he'd be gracious enough to stay here all day. But, you know, 5 more questions. You were going. What's it like to be an assistant captain? It's a huge honor for me personally. I came from, in Columbus, when I played in Columbus, I was an assistant captain there, and I had been there for 6 years. So I was one of the most veteran guys on the team. So you take a lot of pride and a lot of responsibility in kind of doing things the right way. And like I said, when you're on the ice in practice, it's not about going through the motions and showing the coach, hey, I showed up for practice and I'm doing your drills. It's about, okay, I'm in practice, I'm making myself a better player.
if I'm making myself better, then perhaps I'm pushing you to make yourself better. And if he sees you getting better, he wants to be like you. And and we're kind of pushing ourselves up like that. So when Coach Vaughn's talking about peer pressure out on the ice, if you see Joe Smith not bending his knees enough, or you see somebody not leaning into a turn, when you push your buddies to be better, that makes you all better. So being an assistant captain in Vancouver was even more special because that was my first year I got there. And Henrik was deciding who he wanted to be his assistant. So for him to choose me as one of his assistants was a great honor. The fact that I just got there, hadn't really established myself with the team, but he felt that I would be a good person in that leadership role. It was very, very fun. What do I do after my games? Again, there's kind of a cool down routine we go through, depending on whether you're at home or on the road. You go back. If we're at home, you go back to the gym. Perhaps a small workout after the game, and then you do your stretch and cool down. And, grab a bite to eat. Just make sure you refuel your body properly, and then go home and try to wind down as quick as possible. Because after a game, we're finished at 9:30, 10 o'clock. We're still so pumped up and full of adrenaline. It takes a really long time to come down and try to get to sleep. But that's our main goal: is once the game finishes, refuel, forget it, try to calm down and get a good night's sleep. Someone over here. There you go. What was it like when I was traded? It was two different instances. When I was younger, I was traded from from New York to Dallas. And as a young guy, it was a little bit disheartening just because I played with guys like Brian Leach and Mike Richter, who had played their entire career with one team, and I thought that was so cool, and there was so much pride they had in wearing that jersey. And I wanted to be like them. So when I was traded to Dallas, I kind of felt, well, it's very disheartening that a team doesn't want me. But on the upside, I thought, well, there's another team out there that does want me, and they want me for my talents. They want to see what I can do for their team. So it was a fun experience. Looking in hindsight, it was a very good experience for me to kind of see what it was like on a different team and play with different guys and have that opportunity. But now having a family, it's very difficult to imagine having to come into the office one day. Manny, you're traded to Team X. Going home, telling my wife, we got to pack up everything, get the kids out of school, we got to find a new school, we got to find a new place to live, and pack up everything we have and move to a new city. So it's a little bit different now that I'm older with family, but when you're younger, it's a fun opportunity to kind of go see a new city and play with other guys. My favorite way to win a face-off is clean. As little effort as possible. No, I tend to go always on my backhand. I just feel stronger that way, and it's one thing I learned when you get to the NHL. You're playing with men, and there's actually a hockey card that I have. When I was in New York, it shows me taking a face-off, kind of like this, and that's a complete different way I take it now, where I get really low and I feel very powerful and strong. So again, it's kind of an evolution of seeing what works for you, seeing what doesn't, and then kind of making it work for you. Into that.
What do you find is the hardest arena to play in?
Hardest arena to play in? Different arenas have different reasons for being difficult. Like, you go to San Jose, I love playing in San Jose because they have incredibly loud fans. So you go in there as a visiting team and they're just yelling at you, they're screaming at you the whole time, and there's a certain energy in the building. When you're the home team and they're yelling like that for you and they're supporting you, you feel pumped up, and you can tell San Jose always comes out the gate hard. But then there's also tough places to play like Toronto, where they're sitting on their hands and they don't want to cheer, and it's really quiet and there's really no energy in the building, so it's tough to get motivated when it's a really quiet building. But every arena has its positives and negatives.
Last one, guys.
What's your favorite place to play in?
My favorite place to play in? Vancouver. Right? No, well, no. Being there now, I do love playing in Van, but when you go on the road, there's certain cities that are fun to play in just because they're great hockey markets. It's fun. So like I said, going to San Jose, it's a super loud building. It's always an intense game. You go to New York, Madison Square Garden. There's something about playing in the most famous arena in the world. You can't get up for that. And then there's just certain rivalries. You go to Edmonton, you go to Calgary. They're going to be tough, hard-nosed games where you know that even though there may not be something online in the standings, there's something on the line in terms of pride, and you know you're in for a real game.
All right. Listen, first of all, I think, again, we cannot just, we can't come here and not really show our appreciation for somebody who went out of his way to come here with his family and to give us an afternoon, which is so very, very special for us. And again, I'd like just a round of applause to show it is imperative that we, as a group down here in Seattle, we don't get a lot of people to come down here out of give their time back and to give their important time to us. And when that happens, I think that really has to be acknowledged. And I think it has to be shown in appreciation. I would like to just make a little token here of our appreciation, man. Well, thank you very much for coming. All right, I appreciate it, and it was a real pleasure. Like, you're a true professional on the ice. Quite frankly, true professional on the ice. And I appreciate it. Thanks, guys. Pick 4 guys on the ice that, again, like we talked about, would have liked to have had 67 people out there, but we have 4 guys that really stood out, not just so much because of their ability, but when he explained a couple of things to them, when he was listening to the coaches talk to them, they really made an impression on focusing on what he was trying to tell them and really implementing in their game. So, without any further ado, Eric Garber. Make a selection, my friend. All right, perfect, solid, good work. Good job, Ian. Christian Burgess. Christian Burgess, good job, Christian. Good work, buddy. Good job, Christian. All right. Cover up these shirts, all right? Justin Kane. Oh, awesome. Sam Cox still here? Good evening.
He is.
Sam Cox? Where are you, Sam? That might be a tent on you, but that's okay. You're good. You're still ready. Yeah. So now we're going to have just a couple of, we'll have some autographs and stuff. Manny brought some cards along. So if you brought some stuff, you want to come up and just say hi real quick and take a picture maybe, or get some things lined up, that'd be great. One more time.
Does he have an autograph card?
Like
See all the Disney characters in there too? I'd say that was Aiden, Patrick, Tyler.
Evan got invited.
There's a whole family right there.
Yeah, get involved in it. Yeah, there you go. Seriously. Thanks, bro. Good job, brother. Appreciate Nice jersey. Like the jersey. Like the jersey.
It's the only white thing he's been able to keep white.
Don't be make sure that scribble something they can read on that jersey, brother, all right?
Remember, you still gotta wash that one though.